All right, here we are with Stephen at Redwood Area Schools. What part of the district are we in?
We are right now in our Estival edition. We had a community benefactor who donated $1 million to see this addition constructed for our school district. His name is Ruckus Estival, and he had a vision of seeing our school focus more on vocational, agricultural, and technical education. And so he got this project started, donated $1 million, and it's been a fantastic addition to our school.
It is beautiful.
Absolutely.
So we are just walking down to one of the classrooms in this area of the school to see the mounted H510. And they look a little bit different than most of the access points. I was looking for them, and you actually had to point it out to me when I first got here. They look a little bit different, definitely a smaller form factor.
Yeah, they hide quite nicely into the background. It's kind of hard to find them unless you know what you're looking for.
Right. And differently than the ceiling mount too, I'm assuming that was pretty easy for you to mount these the way that you chose.
Yeah, when we had the construction company who was doing the work in this section of the building ask us about how to install these access points and what they needed to put in, I just said, all right, put in a one gang box in these locations. And it was the easiest install I had to do. I just had to mount the access point right over the box there, connect the wire, and it was all good to go.
That is awesome. It looks super clean. Love it. And so you've got one of these in every classroom in the district at this point.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah. Love to hear it.
It's worked really well.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gav Talks Tech. We have a special guest with us here today, Stephen Lien from Redwood Area School District in southern Minnesota. What we're talking about today specifically is Ruckus Wireless, his experience with Ruckus, and even more specifically, the H510 access point. So thank you for joining us once again here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so I guess just to kind of start, how long have you been with the school district?
I've been here at Redwood Area Schools now for 6 years, going on 7.
Excellent, all right. And your first, how'd you get started with Ruckus?
Well, I got started with Ruckus back in 2014. My previous school district at the time was looking for a wireless access point solution that could support high density devices throughout the district. And at the time, I was just ignorant about wireless access points in general. So I did some Googling, and I found this article on tomshardware.com that explained that there were a number of different wireless access points that were enterprise grade, but there was only 2 that they identified that were solid in delivering for dense environments, and they were Cisco and Ruckus. And between the 2, I knew Cisco was far more expensive, and I just needed something that worked well but was more affordable, so I went with the Ruckus solution, and I've never looked back. It's been working really well for us.
Awesome. And Ruckus, as you know, I mean, there's a ton of different manufacturers out there for wireless, and there's a million reasons why certain schools choose certain access points. And I know a big thing was you could kind of mentioning that dense environment.
Absolutely.
And you've kind of explained in the case study, that's one of the things that comes along with this video is an actual case study where Stephen's filled out a lot of the technical information about Ruckus and his specific deployments. But schools have a lot of devices.
Absolutely.
And it seems like a constant growing amount of number of devices.
If there's one universal truth when it comes to technology, is that everybody keeps wanting more.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's kind of dive into the H510. What was your process, your discovery process for that?
Yeah, certainly. So I needed to find an access point that could still deliver when it came to density, but at the same time, I needed an access point that was more economical. I was very fearful of having to buy 4 access points for a classroom wing, for 4 separate classrooms, knowing how expensive access points could be.
Right.
Previously, we just had the one access point covering the entire wing, but when it came to testing, having 120 devices on one access point was just a recipe for disaster. So I was searching for a solution that could really deliver economically the benefits of performance, but not break our budget. And I found that in the H510. At first, I saw the H510 and saw that it was this weird rectangular shaped access point. It didn't look like an access point at all, actually. But I reached out to Ruckus and said, can you tell me more about this? What's it for? What does it do? And would you recommend this in the classroom? And Jinton reached back out to me and said, you know, we've never had that in a classroom before. I don't know of anybody that has it, and we just market it towards hotels. But it didn't entirely answer my question, so I dug deeper. And Jinton reached out to his engineering team, and they got back to me and said, well, yeah, it's still great hardware inside. Yeah, it can certainly handle 100 devices per access point. We just don't market it to schools.
Mm-hmm.
But the price was right. And because the hardware was right, I thought, well, why not try it in a school? And through a lot more vetting and a lot more investigating, I came to the conclusion that it was still a solid access point that could very effectively deliver what I needed in every classroom. You know, we can have up to 30 students in a classroom. Theoretically, we might have up to 60 devices if every kid had a cell phone in addition to their Chromebook. But that's a theoretical maximum, and we've never really gotten to that theoretical maximum. Mm-hmm. You know, we've seen upwards of 50 from time to time, but in most cases, our 510s of handling 30 to 40 devices concurrently, and they do that without breaking a sweat.
That's awesome. And that's exactly why we wanted to go through this case study today about the H510, is because Stephen took a solution that wasn't really built for schools, but had a similar use case with hotels, because what do hotels have? High density too. Probably not as extreme as a school district, but finding a cost-effective solution with Ruckus specific to the problems that Stephen was trying to solve and successfully did, it ended up being something we wanted to share with the world. So that's really what we wanted to deep dive into today. Keep in mind, there's a link below in this video to the specific Redwood area schools Ruckus deployment case study that we talked about today. And if you guys have questions, wanted to try out Ruckus, feel free to reach out to me, any of your Bytespeed engineers, or the Ruckus team. Thanks for watching Gav Talks Tech.